Right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Wetland Awards for 2022 as we recognize the winner in the category Young Professional, Adwoa Awuah. Welcome, Adwoa, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Feeling, very honored by the nomination and the award.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Adwoa, as I said, just a little bit to get to know about who and what you are. So could you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Where did you grow up and what education path did you take that has really got you to where you are today?
Mm. So I grew up in the small town of Pietermaritzburg in KZN. I think when I was younger, going through school, my father was a geography teacher, and I didn't really want much to do with geography.
Okay.
When it came that time of choosing subjects and then choosing what I wanted to do in university, just I think looking up on what's available. Environmental science came up as something that I was potentially interested in, and I studied at UKZN. I went into environmental science. I thought, let's see how it goes if I
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
it. And I turned out to really enjoy it. I really enjoyed the biological sides as well as environmental sides and the environmental modules and subjects. So I stuck with that. Studied right up till masters. And then, I was exposed to a lot of influential and a lot of specialists along the way who I think I learned quite a lot from. Donovan Kotzer, who was my co-supervisor for my masters, and then went on to, spending some time at the INR, and I got to learn from a few people.
Yes.
And even now, my time at Sanby, learning from Nancy, learning from a whole lot of other specialists that I've met along the way. It's been a long journey, not a long journey, I'm not that old, but it's been a good journey of learning and
Okay, then getting back to what you said about geography, I have to say this. Your father must be having the last laugh because you are doing environmental science and you are doing wetlands and mapping, which requires you to have an understanding of geography and where you are on the planet, Adwoa.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, shame. I think good on him for never voicing that out.
No,
I'm sure he
that's
laughs internally.
so, Adwoa, I mean, potentially there's an influence that your father's had from a geographical point of view and geography. Have you always felt the environment is something where you wanted to go and work in as a concept? It wasn't, you weren't going to be, for example, an engineer or an accountant. Has that always sort of been a calling?
I won't necessarily say it's always been a calling. I think I was interested in the subject matter and interested in how things work and understanding
Mm,
kind of what it is that makes up the things around us.
okay.
And sometimes, how things come to be. I don't say it was a calling, but an interest in figuring some of those things out that then led into an interest in out of all of these things, I quite enjoy the freshwater.
Yeah.
Um, I quite enjoy, looking at the rivers and looking at the wetlands. So kind of progressed from first interest in rivers, then okay, wetlands are interesting.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I stayed and grew.
Brilliant. Okay. What inspired you then to do wetland research? From what you've just said, you've found a path that has gone to that, and it seems like it might have been really just your education path. But do you think
Hmm.
there was something there innate about wetlands that kind of inspired you, that you've followed the path into wetlands?
Hmm. I wish I had a very deep inspirational answer for you,
It's
but I
fine.
don't. So as and what mentioned earlier about started off in rivers. My honors project was something that was rivers related. And I was at that time working with the municipality, and Ground Truth, who was also involved. And after that project, the municipality or Esmeralda specifically, voiced and said, there are a few projects within the municipality that we are wanting to do, but don't quite have the funds to do. And so there was this long list of potential research projects. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm keen, I've in doing the river work, I was keen to do something similar, but then there wasn't any other river related subjects. But there was a wetland project. They were interested in finding out which wetlands within a catchment they could rehabilitate to improve the water quality. And so I was like, okay, that's still linked to rivers in one
Yes.
way, but
Yeah.
I'm learning something new. So let me try out this project, and I think that was definitely what got me on the path of wetlands. Was during the course of that working on that project.
It's interesting how it affects people, and once they get into it, they find it's such a myriad of specialities. There's so much to do, and I think the cross-pollination of understandings is always so interesting when it comes to wetlands. You can be a geologist on the one side or an environmentalist, river riparian specialist, but we can all talk a common language. So yeah, it's always the common theme that you find with people. Adwoa, can you tell us a bit about the organization that you currently work for?
Yes. So I am a freshwater scientist in the freshwater biodiversity program at SANDI, so based at the Cape Town office. So we kind of deal with everything freshwater, but my role specifically is working on the national wetland map. So that involves, working with partners, ultimately towards the goal of improving our national wetland map, publishing National Wetland Map 6 and future versions. So working with partners, doing mapping, we doing field work, sourcing information from where, a whole lot of specialists have already done the work. Trying to build those relationships and use those collaborations and bring in all existing information, as well as producing new information to ultimately improve our national wetland map.
Brilliant. I've asked these questions before, but maybe in your case, I'm going to change the question slightly because of what your background and your history has been. Do you have a favorite river? We usually ask the person, do you have a favorite wetland type? But with what you've experienced in your young life, is there a river system or even a wetland system that you feel sort of like close to, or that you actually like for a certain reason?
I think the system I worked on in my postgrad holds a dear place in my heart. It's the Bain Strait, so it's a hammered system in Pietermaritzburg.
Okay.
It's over the years there've been like significant like oil spills and where it's located, there's sometimes sewer leakages, like infrastructure damage that then affects the system. There are quite a few different, parties involved in trying to improve that system. The municipality and other organizations have done well. They're trying to work with schools around that system, teaching them how to do mini SAS. It was really great joining in on some of those, and teaching like young kids how to monitor that system. So I think that system is one that holds a little place in my heart.
I think a lot of us who cut our teeth on doing postgrad studies and things like that, we always remember back to that very first system that we worked on. So yeah, that's good to hear. Adwoa, what do you think has been a highlight of your career so far? Is there something that stands out for you as a personal achievement or something that you've been involved in?
I think there've been a few. I think there's been a number of real learning and growth opportunities. And I think, the transition of going from, an intern into a role, a proper role of a freshwater scientist. I think that change in mindset and that jump was a real learning curve. But I think that was, yeah, I think I don't want to say momentous occasion, but um, definitely, yeah. I'm struggling to find the words
No, it's fine.
to explain that, but in the process of that, and in yeah, learning, getting more responsibilities, and learning to work within a team. Um, yeah, I think those were some of my real growth experiences. I mean, it's still continuing now, I have to say.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yes,
look,
but
I think that's it's a very fair comment because it is such a big step, from that internship. When you think you've got a handle on things and you're running around doing little bits and pieces here and there, and then suddenly you move across to the real world. And it is a big step. And look, it's a
yeah.
learning curve, as you say, it's always a learning curve that we're on. So yeah, fascinating. Adwoa, again, I know from your young time on this earth, do you have some tips for any young wetlanders or environmental bent people that want to go into the field of freshwater systems or rivers or wetlands, that you could just give them one or two tips on what you think they should look out for or what they could think about in carrying on a path like you have done?
Hmm. I think first and foremost is using platforms like the wetland forums and the wetland Indaba, to meet people and talk to people. You see a whole lot of presentations, so you're finding the ones that really spark your interest and talking to people. I think that's one opportunity I didn't really use. Younger, because I met people through other people and through work, but the opportunity was there from the conferences, from the Wetland Forums, from the Indaba. So definitely meeting people and if you see a subject matter that you enjoy, approach the person, ask your questions, or just comment and say that
Yeah.
that something you're interested in, and that could continue to grow. But also I mean, volunteering, I guess, where people are,
Okay.
we know someone's doing field work, and
Yeah.
I think that exposure really helps you understand kind of what this path might look like for you, because a big gray area is not really knowing what I'm interested in this, but I don't know
Mm.
like what the next steps are. So working with people on field trips and kind of volunteering your time in that way, you're learning about what it is that people do actually, but also you have the opportunity to have those conversations with more experienced people. So definitely, I guess my answers are all centered around people.
No, I think that's a lovely answer, and I think the one just pick up on a couple of points. What you mentioned about the forums, I think it's one aspect that we, as the community, we really need to focus on in exposing students or pre-students type of thing at universities to know that there are these quarterly meetings that happen. And that there are some presentations made, there are discussions about various issues, and I think we need to try and drive that because it gives them an opportunity to meet virtually now. We're doing it a lot for people to see what's discussed and issues around wetland management. But also, I think your point is very valid as well, and I've heard it as a common theme over the years with people that we've met and discussions that we've done like this, is get involved in field work because that really will determine if you're up for it or not. We've heard it's not the easiest thing to go plowing through a wetland or try and do a transect across a river. It's real tough, rigorous work to do. So yeah, I think that's really good. The volunteering side of it, the universities I think need to look at that as well, to try and expose the current students to come along and see what the actual field work is. It's not so much the coursework fieldwork that you do, but the actual researchers that go out for a week to a wetland or a river system and actually do it. That's where you learn and cut your teeth. So excellent. Adwoa, just in closing then, do you have any comments that you'd like to say before we wrap this up? And I just have one other question that you can tag onto that. Are you attending the Wetlands Indaba this year?
Yes, I am.
Brilliant.
I am. So I'll be sitting there awkwardly watching myself.
But yeah, just anything in closing that you'd like to say before we wrap up this interview?
Yeah, I think again that a thank you for the nomination and for the award. Yeah, I think yeah, for someone like me who's kind of starting out and continually learning and continually trying to work with and engage with the rest of this field. Yeah, it's been a really great journey, and I look forward to the next steps and then going further. And also maybe just come join us and help us improve the national wetland map.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought that would
yeah,
be
so we'll have a couple of presentations and a poster. And yeah, we just want to reach out to basically everyone who's
everyone.
probably in the room sitting watching this, who's done a whole lot of wetland work. On our side, we partnered with the provinces and partnered with
Yeah,
Nacelle, and we have some methods and of modeling, but we're really wanting to work with people and get people to help us and contribute to the national wetland map. And see your name in the product as well. Yeah, so thank you, Mark.
perfect. Adwoa, thank you very much for your time. Sincerely appreciate it. It was great to get a bit of insight into who and what you are, and look forward to catching up with you at the Indaba this year. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.